What do you think about cholesterol? How important is it to keep it low?
Not important at all.
That's what I thought.
Your body, the question is, what do I think about cholesterol? Well, God designed the body, and the design of the body is to have cholesterol as a lubricant. Cholesterol is a type of fat. Cholesterol is manufactured in the liver according to need. Now the medical profession is used cholesterol as a marketing tool to sell drugs. They tell you, oh, you've got high cholesterol, we need to lower it. And so they give you stuff to theoretically lower the cholesterol. If you need cholesterol, your body will make it. If you have too much cholesterol, your body will eliminate it. A lot of people are under the misconception that if you have cholesterol, it will build up in the arteries and kind of contaminate the inside of the arteries. The truth is, if the arteries are irritated, we'll call it the lumen, the inside lining of the arteries. If they're irritated in any way, then the body responds automatically to build a protective covering to protect the lining cells, and that's many times cholesterol. It's like the lining on the extension cord that protects the wire from being exposed. It's like the lining on nerves. That's called the myelin sheath, the covering of your nerves, except it's on the inside. So I'm not in favor of cholesterol modifying drugs.
Well, aren't they more dangerous than the statin drugs are really dangerous, aren't they?
Extremely.
Well, when they tell you if you don't take it, you can have a heart attack because you got high cholesterol.
No way.
That's
So,
what they tell you.
like
Doctors
I
tell you
said,
that.
Like it's what?
Doctors tell you that.
I
That's why
like
they
it.
give you the drugs.
Like I said to you earlier, I'll say it again. Cholesterol is a marketing tool.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a way to decrease the irritation on the inside of the arteries?
That's a perfect question. Let me answer it with a question, then I'll talk about it. What irritates arteries on the inside?
Is it toxins from your food?
Toxins. So what does Deborah see when she looks at your blood?
Ugly stuff.
What?
Ugly stuff.
Ugly stuff. Ugly stuff that shouldn't be in the blood. Many times it's because of improper eating. Many times it's from overloaded digestive system. Again, from overeating. You can have a very good diet, like a health food fanatic diet, and have too much volume. And I said this many times. Volume is more damaging than content. Now, why do I say that? Because that's the way it is. If you look at the world and what people eat around the world, the sickest people are the people who eat the most food.
Is that because it overstresses your organs to digest it?
Exactly right. And the weaker the organs, the greater the stress. And if you have a back misalignment, the nerve that goes to the organ is diminished, like a rheostat is turned down. So you can have a pretty good stomach, a pretty good small and large intestine, and hurt your back, and the nerve go down. And the same food they ate last week, this week hurts you because you have compromised tissue. That's why those of you who have T-zones, who do their regular usonatizon have a better aligned spine. If you do the sacral slide and occipital release, you have a better aligned nervous system and the organs work better. So you can eat more food and get away with it. That was a good question. Are you okay?
I'm good, good.
Okay. I don't want you to mind me. Okay, so any other questions or comments?
I have a comment. So you asked about cholesterol and he told you it's a liver issue, right? So when they give you cholesterol medication, are they addressing the symptom or the cause? The symptom. So if your liver's out of whack and it's struggling because you're eating like crap and drinking like crap, it's gonna not work right. So the liver is designed to do what it's supposed to if you give it what it needs, right? So you want to clean up your cholesterol, clean up your diet, and help your liver. Do the detoxing that he teaches, and that helps your liver because your liver's a detoxifier, right? So.
Thank you.
And the blood, totally clean up your blood. Easy.
Okay,
Wow.
so I want to answer the question that was asked. It was a general question.
Is this another one?
Yes. The question was named diagnosis. It's a standard protocol medically when the patient comes in to do a case history and an examination, and they're required to come up with some kind of a diagnosis. A diagnosis is made up of is a conclusion of opinions of several different symptoms. That's required to be reimbursed by insurance companies. And when a diagnosis is made, I often see that that's when the real thinking stops, because from that point on, the patient is not treated as a whole. What is treated is the diagnosis, treatment, protocol. So somebody or some group has determined that if you have diagnosis X, you get these treatment protocols. Sometimes they have options, but that's the way it is.
So that's why they weigh you and take your blood pressure and all of that, so they have something to put on the chart.
Exactly. And many times, you've probably had your own experience, but many times the nurse will do your blood pressure and your height and weight and ask you about 15 questions, and the doctor never looks at them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're in the record. That's different from what you said. So when I said to you that thinking stops, that's not always true, but that's what generally happens. The diagnosis becomes the guide. Did that make sense?
Yes, the question was specific to lupus.
Oh,
It's an imbalance.
they're all the same.
They're all imbalances.
Lupus is a combination of symptoms. Now, some diseases, and lupus is one of them, and lupus fits in a group of medical diagnoses that have no real cure. They treat the symptoms. And when you have a disease that has taken control, then many times the disease process has the intention of destroying the patient. They call it autoimmune disease. So lupus fits in the category of autoimmune disease. which means the body's trying to destroy itself. Now, different autoimmune diseases have different targets. If you have a weak kidney in your bucket, from my perspective, your bucket is very, very low. It's way down under 50% capacity. Your body will decide to self-destruct. Kind of like what God did with the earth at the time of Noah. It's not working. They're so evil, the kids don't stand a chance. So we'll just clean them up and start over. So the body gets to that same point and says, just let's terminate this person by self-destructing. That's an autoimmune disease. Now it could be that your weak part would be your brain, could be your heart, could be your kidney or liver or some other organ. So autoimmune disease can be rheumatoid arthritis. It can be a number of other things like lupus. But the concept is the same. The bucket is low. What we need to do to enhance the health is plug up the holes, preferably the big holes first, and gradually add energy and life and hope. And from a holistic standpoint, that's on page 27 in the book, that's the mental, emotional. Sometimes it's structural, sometimes it's chemical. I saw a young lady today who complained of neck and shoulder problem, and the main trigger for the neck and shoulder problem is a pattern of her thinking. Let me explain so you understand, because some of you have similar type problems that will come and go, and you have family members with symptoms that come and go. The pain in the neck and the shoulder are on the left side. Chronic. Why? Because the body pattern structurally is leaning to the right. So what is the body trying to do? Pull it back to center. Pull it back to center. But when muscles get stretched, do they get stronger or weaker? Weaker. Do they feel better or do they get painful? Painful. So we have a chronic, weak, painful muscles, neck, shoulder. And so you can't do anything, oil, massage, soaking in bathtub, whatever. Doesn't go away. Why? Because our mind is wanting to do everything right. So being right is very important for her. There's too much rightist. Does that make sense? It's okay to do things right, but what I told her was she needed to sin.
Don't take that to heart.
Now, when I said to her, you need to sin, she was confused because she doesn't want to sin. Then I explained there are two types of sins. There's sins of commission, that's where you do bad things that are against the rules. Sins of omission, that's when you don't do things that you should do, and you feel like you've done something wrong because you didn't do what you should have done. That's a sin of omission. Now, I told her she needed to learn how to say the word no, and no thank you. And do less, and not feel guilty about it. Not feel like you did something bad because you didn't do something good that you used to do. So people who are stuck in the rightist pattern develop certain kinds of diseases. Now listen carefully. they develop certain kind of diseases, that the disease is a solution to the problem. So the disease forces them by default to do less. Now, you can either do it by default or by choice. My choice is slow down and accept the fact that there's more than mom's way of doing things.
So if you're on a diet, you say, okay, I don't have to be so strict.
Exactly,
It's okay to get a B.
exactly. Just get a B.
I think that's one thing that's helped me tons,
Just get a B.
is the B thing. It's
Yeah.
like, takes the pressure off.
It takes, there should be no pressure. That God didn't put us here, put us here to have joy, and have joy learning things and making mistakes and overcoming them, and that's why we can repent every week and get it back together. Okay, I got off track a little bit.
That's good.
Are there any more questions?
I just
Comments?
have a comment. It seems like when you get a diagnosis, that does something to you mentally.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh, okay, well then that means this, I can't help that. And that seems like that does a disservice to you.
I totally agree with your comment. And you know what? I'll back up and tell you a story. When Deborah, a long time ago, moved from Colorado to Utah to go to school, and she got a job. After she'd been here in Utah a month or two, one day on the phone she said, "Dad, these people think different than we do." I said, "What do you mean?" "Well, when they get together, they like you said, they have their name tag. I'm diabetic."
Oh.
And I've had hip surgery. "Well, that's nothing. I've had 2 hip surgeries." "Well, I've got more than that. I've had 2 hips and a knee." Okay, so they talk about their label of the diagnosis rather than what are you doing to get well. What are you doing to overcome your deficiency, whatever it is. So she was amused at the different way of thinking. Now I have a handout, somebody who's had this before, by David O. McKay. I think I don't have enough for everybody, but he says you have one. Thank you. If you like notepaper. Okay, good. Okay, any questions before we start?
Yes, I forgot what, when you have ridges on your fingernails, what it indicates.
If the ridges are crossways,
That way,
it's an indication of chronic significant stress. If they're this way, it's usually adrenal gland fatigue.
oh,
And if they're this way and they have beads on them, that's a sign of osteoarthritis.
really?
They have beads on.
I don't know if they
So
have
if
beads
they have
on them.
little bumps on them,
Yeah, I
Like
know.
little ridges?
like little beads on the, if the ridges.
They're going like this,
They're
like
going like-
that.
yeah.
If you have ridges and the ridges have beads on them.
Oh, okay, I think I'm okay then.
I'll look at them for you.
Okay,
Any other
I have
questions?
a question.
Yes.
So what might cause headaches? Like, say you had a great night's sleep, but you wake up with a headache. Any ideas?
Yeah, the first thing I would ask would be about the pillow
Okay,
and the position of the body.
and how are you laying on?
okay.
And I would ask what you had for dinner.
Yeah, that would be
That's
the
it.
next question. Wow.
Okay.
It's very common for people to sleep on a pillow when on the side, it's not proper height, so they either let the head down too far, which pinches and pulls, or they're laying with a pillow that's too high, and it's the same thing. And sometimes they tuck their chin, and instead of having the neck in a neutral, relaxed posture, they stretch the spinal cord and create a tightening of the meninges, which go up and cover the brain. That is also very common. To sleep with chin down and knees up, which will cause headache.
Okay.
It will also reduce the benefit of sleep. We're talking about sleep today, so that's a great question.
Okay. And the dinner, what kind of a dinner would cause a headache? Anything?
Something too heavy or too toxic.
Okay.
You know if you eat well or not. And sometimes it's just too much for your
think
system.
back and go, what did I eat now? Was that terrible on me? Okay. That all
Or
makes
if you
sense.
overeat, that's my case.
I'm more a side sleeper, but you just kind of want to be lined up.
Not candy, you want to be as good as you can get.
Okay. All right.
And back to supper, volume is the number one error on eating. Not what you eat as much as how much you eat,
Okay.
followed by what you eat.
Yeah.
Now, if you're doing the urine pH test in the morning and it's acid, in other words, the pH of the urine is under 6.4, then you have, what Deborah mentioned, have a chemical overload. You can eat ideal food, proper combination, but too much volume, and have acid, overload, have headache, okay?